My lot in life, I figured out just recently, was to make shave eyes. Not shaved, not snow cones, but shave ice. All right, my name is Amy Haws. I was born in Kahuku, Hawaii. I lived in Birmingham, Alabama, and Fresno, California, Gilbert, Arizona, and then 8 years ago, I came back to Utah. As for my occupation, currently, I own the most amazing and best, and I will look at the camera for that one, best, shave ice business in Provo, Utah. I really feel like I have been blessed with the ability to really connect with other people. Ever since I was really young, I've been able to just help people feel loved. Probably 9 out of 10 times after I've had a conversation with someone, I play it back in my mind and think I shouldn't have said that, or maybe I should have said this, or maybe I didn't convey this in a way that I should have. Yeah, definitely something I'm very self-conscious about. Yeah, so when I was very young, 10 years old, I was molested, and it sucked the life out of me, the light, and I went from being this amazing, creative, bright, intelligent, loving, amiable Amy was a nickname, to this almost shell of a human. And I was very pulled back from life. I lost my confidence in myself, my desire to do good, my desire to try. And that feeling slowly began to become a deeper resentment towards myself. And I honestly felt like I couldn't do anything. And I realized that the reason why I was struggling so much wasn't necessarily because of what happened to me, but it was how it was dealt with. I grew up in a home, in a very good home, loving home, with parents that did their best, 100% did their best. But it was a hear no, see no, speak no evil. And so what happened to me was shoved underneath the bed, the rug, whatever. It was just put aside and not brought up ever again. But becoming and choosing to be something that I wasn't, per se, led me to become an even harsher person. And I began to do drugs. I began to hang out with people that were, their expectations were so low, so I didn't have to put much effort into being their friends. But I ended up getting pregnant with my daughter at a pretty young age. And here you'd think that this miracle of life would bring this joy and this purpose, and it didn't for me. I got married because it was the right thing to do, and it was a horrible marriage, extremely toxic for both of us, and I was not a victim. I was not innocent. I chose to put into that marriage just as much horrible actions as he did, and it was very abusive physically and emotionally, and in the midst of all of that, I had this beautiful, amazing child that deserved so much more, but I didn't feel like I deserved to give that to her, that I wasn't a good mom. And anyway, after I was able to get out of that marriage, I thought things would change, but I realized that everywhere you go, there you are. And I finally realized that if I wanted to change that, if I wanted things to change, I had to be the one that changed things. But it's not that easy at all. So a few years after I was able to separate myself from my daughter's dad, my beautiful Sasha, I went on this crazy rampage of meth. That was my drug of choice, and I went to jail a couple of times. I went to rehab a couple of times. I had these horrible relationships and was killing the relationships that were good. I had a couple of stays in the psych ward, a few suicide attempts, and also a nice little drug-induced coma for 3 days. And I would not suggest that to anyone. But, gal, and all of this just is seems like such a different person. My mom still now is like, oh, I'm so glad the aliens brought you back. Yeah, so I feel like this is a completely different person, but it's important to share. And I had depleted all of my resources, and the pity party I'd been having for so many years, I just had no one to invite anymore. Nobody wanted to come. And so finally, I was dropped off at the Greyhound station with my daughter, and we moved to Utah, and it was crazy. It was like the craziest couple of weeks, and I dabbled in drugs a little bit while I was here, and then all of a sudden I just thought, what am I doing? And yeah, rock bottom. No, it wasn't that. It wasn't this like aha moment that I decided, wow, you know, life's worth living. But it was one night looking at my daughter and just really looking at her, like, and seeing her in a way that I hadn't, because I had totally detached myself from her emotionally, physically too. And by the grace of God, I had wonderful angels watching over her through all of this. And looking at her and seeing this pure, innocent, beautiful being that was part of me, and realizing, holy cow, this person, I am the only person that can give her a fighting chance at life. And when I use, when I drink, when I hurt myself in any way, I am basically saying, you know what, sweetie, I don't love you enough to not drink. I don't love you enough to not go shoot up. I don't love you enough to make you breakfast. I don't love you enough to make sure that you're going to school. I don't love you enough to be your mom. And when I put things in those words, I realized that that is exactly what I was doing. And how dare I do that to her? Could I say that to her face? No. But I was doing it to her every day in other ways. And I just stopped right then and there. So the next day I got my daughter up for school, and I took her to school, and I was dropped off by a friend down in East Bay, and I got a job. And then I just slowly began to live life. And I look back and I don't know how I did it. I didn't have a car. I didn't have family, which I thought I had to be so reliant on. I did have help, but I was actually letting people help me. And I wasn't feeling ashamed that I smelled like cigarettes, or that I had scars, or that my face was picked over, or that I had this past that I felt like was this big scarlet letter A for not awesome Amy. It took a really long time to actually feel like I was reaping the rewards of sobriety, but it happened. So that was a huge trial for me. It was pretty big, I guess, when you think of it like that. But yeah, that was my trial. Addiction, but not even that. That wasn't even the trial. The trial was losing my core identity and my authenticity, and trying to find that again. So, because I think that if it had been not drugs or alcohol or whatever, that it would have been something else self-defeating. So becoming whole again was my trial. There you go. There's a concept that my husband and I talk about a lot, and I think it's the thing that has really brought everything, I don't know, since I've met him, my life is it's full of so much more joy. And so we have this concept of taking care. And it's something that we talk about all the time. We had a great conversation last night about it. Because taking care really means is actually putting your heart, your soul, you into everything that you do. Whether it's talking to someone and actually looking in their eyes and taking care and actually having a conversation with them. And so that's one thing that we really try and focus on in our home, is just taking care in everything that we do. I am beautiful because, so many things run through my mind of that. I'm beautiful because of my family. I'm beautiful because I am alive. I'm beautiful because I have the opportunity to love and give and share and be there for other people and help them be beautiful too. And I didn't cry. I didn't cry. Do you want to be my friend?